Do I have the rights to share screen?
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
You can.
And my name is showing as Anujit Chatterjee. I don't know why.
That need to be rectified. Yes.
Thank you.
He's coming through Anujit's channel, like. আচ্ছা গেস্টের নামটা কি?
So, Nina ma'am, have we admitted all the participants?
Nina?
Yes.
Have we admitted all the participants?
Am I supposed to admit? I have no idea.
No. Nina ma'am, I think.
No, ma'am, I'm asking you.
I think she has moved out from the meeting. I mean.
Okay, fine. So I'm taking charge in that case.
Yeah.
So yes, a very good afternoon, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Department of Fine Arts and Design, welcome one and all. I welcome Professor Sabnani, the guest of today's session, and I also welcome Professor Budashri Dasgupta, the Director, School of Media Communication, Fine Arts and Design. And I also welcome Mr. Mohsin Mitra, the moderator of today's event. So before we start, I request Professor Dasgupta to say a few words just to on behalf of our school and our department. Professor Dasgupta, please.
A very good evening to our guest speaker, ma'am. And we are really honored that you have agreed to speak to the department today. This department, Fine Arts, I mean, the university itself is very young, just about 4 years old, and the department is still younger, and it is growing very fast. And in fact, I feel that your presence will be an inspiration for this department to grow further and faster. We are really having two segments in this particular department. One is on fine arts. We have all the segments of fine arts, sculpture, painting, and another section is on design. We have product design, we have communication design, we have fashion design, and we intend to grow with having much more of these departments according to the needs of the students and the region. So I am really honored to have you here and speak to the students and the faculty. I'm sure this will be a great, a lesson and a great example for them to follow. With your experience, long experience in design, I'm sure this will be something to cherish and something which we will, feel that it will help us to grow faster. And I'm also requesting you to not this is just the beginning. We would like to invite you more and more so that you can interact for more evenings with the students, and they, I'm sure, will be liking your speech now, as well as you come and again. I will not expand anymore because everyone is eagerly waiting to listen to you. So over to Sanjay to start the session and invite Madam to speak. Over to Sanjay. Sanjay, you are not audible.
Yes, so over to Mohsin now. I invite Mohsin to introduce the guest of the day and start the session.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Mr. Dasgupta. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the participants of this online session, My Journey in Design by Dr. Nina Sabnani, organized by Department of Arts and Design, Sister Nivedita University from Techno India Group. Today, we are really privileged to have Nina with us as a guest speaker. May I introduce Nina in a few words. Nina Sabnani is an artist and storyteller who uses film, illustration, and writing to tell her stories. Graduating from the Faculty of Fine Arts, Baroda, she received a master's degree in film from Syracuse University, New York, which is pursued as a Fulbright Fellow. A doctoral thesis on the Coward tradition has been published in a book, Coward Tradition of Rajasthan, A Portable Pilgrimage. Nina's research interests include exploring the dynamics between words and images in storytelling. Her work in film and illustrated books seeks to bring together animation and ethnography. Her award-winning films include Mukund and Riyaz, Tanku Boleche, and Baat Wahi Hai. Her film Hum Chitra Banate Hai, made in collaboration with Bhil artist Sher Singh from Madhya Pradesh, received the National Award Rajat Kamal for the Best Animation Film from the President of India at the 64th National Awards for 2016. In 2018, she received the Lifetime Achievement Award for illustration from Tata Trusts at the Tata Lit Live Festival in Mumbai. In 2021, she received the Legend of Indian Animation Award from Toons Media Group. Currently, she is chair of immersive learning at Srishti Manipal Institute of Art and Design and Technology. I'm really excited and privileged to have Nina as a speaker today. Nina, may I request you to take us through your journey now?
Thank you. Good evening, friends. I'm delighted to meet you all. Thank you, Marshim, for that introduction, and the School Faculty of Arts and Design for inviting me. And of course, thanks to your University Sister Nivedita. Thank you for this platform to share my work and progress. To tell you the truth, I did not decide to become a designer when I was in school. In fact, it has been a long, winding road to here, of which I will share a few highlights today. Just so that you don't have to only look at me, I have a presentation I would like to share. So shall we begin?
Sure, Nina.
Share. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Visible.
You can see. So what I will do is, just so not to distract, I will put my video off. How do I shoot my video? Stop video. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, Nina.
Okay.
We can hear you.
You can see the screen properly.
Yeah.
Or should I enter full screen? I don't know if it'll work, but I'll try, okay? Is this full screen now working?
It's the same as the previous screen.
Oh, okay.
But it's showing clearly anyways.
Okay, all right, okay, fine. So I have called my presentation, my pathway into design. which is a more personal narrative about how I became a designer, something I had never really considered while growing up. And that is because I had never heard of a design institute when I was in school. There were no avenues like this to learn about various disciplines or career paths. Also, to tell you the truth, I was not a very decisive person because I wanted to do many things and gave my parents quite a hard time coming to any conclusion about what I wanted to study. I believe every individual needs their own pace for this. Some know it clearly, some need time. I really took my time. While I'm here to share my journey so far, you are starting your own journey into the world of design. So welcome to this exciting world of communication design, which is as vast as the sea, and you have to navigate your own path. It is an adventure, and like any adventure, it has its highs and lows, but always engaging, I can promise you. So before I get started, let me quickly introduce you to this vast domain of communication design, because that is the domain I'm familiar with. Typically, communication design in most design schools offer pathways in graphics, illustration, photography, and animation, and film in some places. Graphic design is central to communication design as it encompasses everything. Today, I'm only going to speak on two, illustration and animation, as these were the pathways I chose to work in. And though they look like separate entities, and we do ultimately land up doing one or the other, they are all interrelated and interdependent. Let me tell you a story to illustrate my point. It's an old story from the Vishnu Dharmotar Puran, but very relevant to us here. Here is King Vajra, who wants to learn how to create icons or sculptures of the gods he worships. So he approaches the wise sage Markandeya for this request. The sage tells him, sure, but before you learn to do that, you must learn the art of painting. So he agrees to learn to paint. But then the sage says, that is not possible till you learn the art of dancing. The king is ready to learn dancing. Then the sage says, even that is not possible till you learn to play a musical instrument. The king says, okay, teach me to play the instrument. But the sage says, in order to do that, you must learn. What do you think the sage said? He said, you must learn the art of vocal singing. Only then will you be able to play the musical instrument. And thus, King Vajra had to learn all these arts in order to get to where he wanted to go. So what is really being said here is that for the ancient Indian artists, the arts were all interrelated and interdependent. They were not divided into any silos, though people did specialize in the end. So even now, we need to learn many things before we actually specialize. Another thing I would like to say is that design education will certainly get you a job and a means of livelihood. But it does more than that. It is a journey of discovery where learning never ends and you never really retire from work. And you get paid for doing something you like. Through your practice, you learn about people, their needs, and more. You discover your own strengths and potential, and what you as an individual can do together with others to make your life worthwhile. So how does this happen? I suppose it has to do with questions we ask ourselves. You know, the questions we ask ourselves lead us to pathways of doing. Asking questions of yourself is useful. Today, I want to share with you the questions I asked myself through my journey. Not always very smooth or clear, and not every twist and turn, but the highlights, the milestones that have led me to this pathway. In any practice, there are at least two strong inclinations or ways of going about it. One is to create and perform or do, and the other is to extend the understanding of practice itself, pushing its boundaries and furthering the form in some way. By that, I mean one is to practice the profession, and the other is to reflect on it, research it, and redefine it, to think about what more can be done with it, to enlarge and imagine its future. So I have been doing both, practicing my profession and doing research. For me, the path was never that clear. I drifted from art into design and then on to animation and illustration to do what I do today. So how did I get here? I think the place where I got my first formal education in the Faculty of Fine Arts gave me that introduction. It made me aware of these strong approaches that have informed my work in a large way. In the Fine Arts College, I learned my skill sets as well as ways to ask questions of myself. I learned from my teachers and their work. I also learned a lot through observation. When I shifted from art to design at NID, I came into contact with multiple communities with great artistic traditions and became aware of the many ways of expressing and working together. Everything I learned in fine arts was a resource, was useful in my next step, and what I learned at NID took me further. And finally, at IIT Bombay, I came to realize these learnings into films, books, researching with films, and collaborating with communities to make films. So whatever I present today, the institutes and the people I engage closely with have been my great influencers, and they continue to inspire me. What they have in common is that they all taught me to question with empathy. Today, I make films in collaboration with individuals and communities, and for me, both are artists. I work with memories and found art, or art created by others, putting together what exists and telling it together through a process of collaborative and participatory filmmaking. Accessing memories and understanding how they emerge, and then communicate through the art forms created by my participants is a slow process, which suits my temperament. In the time that we have, I will share with you some of my work. I thought I would share an example from each of the three domains that I usually work in. What is common among them is that they are all made in collaboration with many other people. So I thought I will share with you an animated film with Shev Singh Bheel, an artist from Madhya Pradesh. Then I will share an illustrated book I made in collaboration with Rajesh Wangad, a Warli artist, storyteller Ankit Chadda, and Radhika Menon, publisher of Tulika Books. Last, I will share an international project initiated by the University of West of England concerning water security in Rajasthan, and which involved a coming together of experts from diverse disciplines of geography, environmental sciences, design, art, and the visual and performing arts. We explored ways of making scientific information accessible through the practice of art. I'll speak of each of them in detail as I introduce them to you. Before I show the film, I want to speak about two films that I made as a student and as a new member of the faculty at NID. These, I think, were the precursors to what I do today. So pay attention to what you do as students even. These were not conscious attempts as such. They were more like fascinations to explore ways of telling, of adapting illustration to animation. But eventually they have led me to work with communities who have their own art practice. Shubh Vivaah, an anti-dowry film, was based on paintings about the traumas of dowry by Lalita Devi, an artist from Madhubani, Bihar. Here I explored ways of telling the story while animating an art form that was not even designed to animate. The second film that I think was also a precursor to my current trajectory is A Summer Story. It's a film based on my teacher K.G. Subramaniam's illustrated book by the same title. This film was a step closer to collaboration where he and I discussed the storyboard after which I animated the story. My excitement in this project was to interpret and to create images that were like the ones he created and which would blend seamlessly into his images. After doing these films, I asked myself then, as I asked myself again yesterday, why did I make these films? Then my answer was, I was experimenting with form, learning from the masters, doing non-Disney-like animation, more Indian-like, I guess. But today I see them as precursors to what I do. And then you realize one work leads to another. I would love to show this film, but we don't have the time. So I'll just tell you a little bit about it because it has led me to develop a process and also to engage with a certain theme. Mukund and Riaz has also been converted to a children's book, and the film is there on my YouTube channel if you want to watch it. The story is based on my father's memory of partition when he was a teenager and had to leave home suddenly. Back then, when I asked myself this question, why am I doing this film? I was sure I knew it was because I wanted to connect my father to his childhood friend. But when I asked this question today, I think it was a way to know my father and to validate his memories, to collaborate and engage with him, to tell the story that no one had asked him or didn't think it was important enough. Why am I talking about this? Is because I want to share how I got interested in the whole idea of representing memories and stories of the other. From here on, I have worked exclusively with found art and memories of others. The Stitches Speak is a collaborative film with embroidery artists from the Kalaraksha Trust in Kutch. It narrates the story of 4 persons in their voices. They speak about how they had to travel to a place far away from their homes for different reasons. Some fled the war, some migrated, and all of them were affected by the massive earthquake of 2001. In a way, it is a story of displacements, which leads to creation of new identities. I would now like to talk about the film I made together with Sher Singh Bheel. Just a little background to the film will make a difference in the way you see it. The film was an effort to create an awareness about the place of painting and visual narratives in the community.
Excuse me, Professor Sabnani, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Actually, are the slides changing?
Yes.
But somehow we cannot see the slides changing. We can only see the first slide.
Oh my God. Oh, really? Is it?
Yes.
Oh, let me then do one thing. I'm so sorry. You should have told me before.
No, actually, we were waiting that the slides will change.
Oh, man. Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to, I'm feeling so bad now. Okay, 1 second. Let me, you know what? I'll not do that full screen. Maybe it'll help.
Yeah, maybe,
huh?
maybe.
Oh gosh, why is it doing this one?
Yes, now it's changing.
It's changing?
Yes.
So you didn't see all of this? None of this?
No.
Oh God. None of this you saw?
No. Only the first slide was...
This slide you saw?
No.
Not
only the first one.
This
only
one?
The first. No. The very first one.
Oh God. So you missed all of this?
Yes. You can just quickly take us through this because we already
So you
know.
saw only this?
Yes.
Oh gosh. All right. So okay, see, this was I was telling you about communication design and how schools have those things, and this is the story of King Vajra going to Sage Markandeya, and he says, you must learn painting, dancing, so he learns painting, then he learns dancing, then he says, no, you have to learn music. Then he says, not just music, you have to do vocal music. And then, so he has to do everything. You remember what I said, right? Hello?
Yes, we remember.
Okay, fine. And then I spoke about how I drifted from art into communication and got into animation and reflection. And then how these 3 institutes have influenced my work and my growth as a designer, from Fine Arts in Baroda, NID in Ahmedabad, and then IIT Bombay in, of course, the Syracuse University in between. But I mean, most of my influences are from these institutions in India. And then these are the 3 projects that I'm going to speak about. And these are the precursors, which how I started first, as a student, and worked with other people's art. And this is a story about my father, which led me to this whole notion of working with art created by others and the memory of the other. And this is the story I made on the Kutch artists. So I brought you up to speed.
Yes, yes.
Okay, quick.
Thank you.
Sure. So I wish you had said it earlier. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone, for this. Where was I? So I'm talking about this Bhil film. And now can you see this? Next slide.
Yes, yes.
Now, if it stops, please tell me, okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So I thought that a quick introduction to the Bhils would contextualize the work we did together. The Bhils are the largest indigenous people in India and spread over several states across the country. In Madhya Pradesh alone, their population runs into millions. As Shweta Devi has said, they have been long relegated to the margins of society. Identities like criminal tribes, denotified tribes, habitual offenders are imposed or thrust upon them. They're almost rendered invisible. To learn from them and to learn about them became the reason for making this film. So the Bhil community has a rich resource of oral narratives that remains untapped, unappreciated, and unknown outside the community. As the community dissipates due to economic migration, they have fewer opportunities of being together and sharing their stories. Like the knowledge of other indigenous communities, these stories, and with them, a part of the Bhil identity may be lost. Now, I met Sher Singh in an art fair in Bhubaneswar when I was there on a holiday. I was so excited by his work that I asked him if he would be interested to collaborate on an animated film with me, and he said, sure. He had no idea what I was talking about, which I came to know later. He told me he had never seen an animated film. Now, we worked closely with 2 artists to begin with, and we had many, the story emerged from our conversations. The 2 artists were Sher Singh and Subhash, but it was Sher Singh who continued to participate in the whole process, showing us his village, introducing us to the larger community. Now, in the process of our conversations, we learned the importance of painting in their lives. We learned the importance of, what is the dot. The Bhils create images where the real and the imaginary are brought together in a unique visual language. In the past, the images were painted on walls of their houses, but these images were considered sacred and used as rituals. Such paintings can be seen even today, but it was with the intervention of artists, who kind of said that, you should start painting on paper, because then more people will learn about your work. So all images are created with dots. Swaminathan was the artist who encouraged them. And he set up the Museum of Man, where you can see all their work. All images in the Bhil art are created with dots, and each dot represents an ancestor. A dot also signifies the coming into being, and after all, it is the beginning of every image making. And these are some of the collaborators who contributed their images and narratives to the film. Every stage of the film process was shown and discussed with Sher Singh, including the script and storyboard, and he made many valuable suggestions. Collaborations were also made with other experts like musicians, actors, script writers, and animators. So let us see the film. Now, how do I show the film? Can I show it from here itself? Are you able to see? Are you able to see the film?
No, we are not being able to see as yet.
Okay, so that means it is not sharing my screen. So what I'll do is, let me do one thing. I'm going to copy paste the, 1 second. I'm gonna, oh, where am I? Where's my, uh, where am I? I'm not able to see my, I need to see the chat box. Shall I stop sharing and then come back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'll do is, can you see the link in the chat box?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I would recommend that everybody see it on their own screens, and I come back in 8 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Just let me know when you're finished seeing the film so I can start.
Sure, sure, sure.
Thank you.
किसी को सबक
Okay, so shall we get back?
Yeah, sure, Nina.
Okay, all right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, all right. So carrying on, I started doing illustrated books in the course of my journey, but mostly converting my animated films into illustrated books. I've done most of my books with Tulika Publishers, and I love working with them. But when Tulika Publishers asked me to do an illustrated book on Gandhi's life for children in collaboration with the Wali artist Rajesh Vangar Chaiti, I panicked. It was not because I had never collaborated with traditional artists before. On the contrary, as you already know, I had worked with embroidery artists from Kutch and card makers from Rajasthan to make animated films and illustrated books for children. But my approach had always been more ethnographic. I would interact with them, and together we would arrive at the images and text. In this case, the artist was not going to be around. He had completed his task, and I was supposed to use the images from his paintings and tell his story of Gandhi. The paintings were beautiful, and I could see why Tulika publishers saw great potential in it becoming a book for children, and also why they thought of me. I could easily recognize the major events from Gandhi's life, but without meeting the artist, I would miss out the finer details of his representation of these events and why he chose them. And what about the ones he did not represent? There could be other events which may be of value to children's understanding of this complex, enigmatic personality, who they only knew as father of nation, freedom fighter, and someone who believed in non-violence and vegetarianism. How overwhelming would that be? And if the book was to be for children, would we not need to make children think of him as someone that had a childhood, just like any other child, and who became someone because of the decisions he made and ideals he followed? I did not know enough Gandhi. I did not know enough of Gandhi to do justice in telling his story. So, why is it not moving? So, I thought of collaborating with storyteller Ankit Chadda. Unfortunately, he passed away some years ago, but we worked together. A Dastangoi artist I had met around that time and who was passionate about Gandhi and had read extensively on him. So I suggested this to my publisher, Radhika Menon, and we decided to all meet and together understand how Rajesh went about portraying the life of Bapu Gandhi. He told us about a Delhi-based designer, Sunaina Suneja, who had curated a show, Bapu, the craftsperson's vision, where she had commissioned several craftspersons to depict Gandhi and his life through their art. One of the artists was him, Rajesh, from Dahanu, an artist rooted in the indigenous Warli tradition. Rajesh walked us through the paintings and told us how he learned about Gandhi from his school teacher. And what made a deep impression on him was that Gandhi was just like them. He did his own work.
Excuse me, is the slide changing again?
No, no, no. No,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, please.
Yeah. So, he said that Gandhi was just like them. He did his own work and was close to nature. This was a different and refreshing perspective we had not encountered before. So he chose to pick on two identifiable elements that made one recognize Gandhi from a mile. There is a video, but I don't know if this will work. Shall I try? Oh, I'll try if it works. Otherwise, I'm going to...
Let's see.
Let's try. It says, okay, allow. Are you able to see anything?
No, nothing is happening.
As usual. Okay, now I'm going to, I want you to, because I will have to stop sharing so that I can put it in the chat box here. It's a short, it's just a 2-minute video, but you'll have to, go down to where the video is. It's, are you able to find it? It says telling Gandhi's story, but it's also, there's a video at the, a YouTube video, if you scroll down.
The collaboration in dialogue, that one?
Yeah, there is a video. There's a, like a YouTube that symbol is there not to play. You can play that. It's just 2 minutes. It's not very long. So why I want you to want to share this is because he is talking about, why he didn't want to show Gandhi's assassination, which is very interesting. Are you able to see it?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. So once you're done, let me know. Some people are joining now. They'll wonder what's going on. Let me know when you finish.
Yeah, we are done.
Okay, good. I'll just share my screen again. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yet to.
Yet to. Okay. Now you can see, right?
Yes,
Yes.
can see.
So, okay. So, like he said, he did not want to show the assassination. We also decided to end the book in the same way. It's a known fact that Gandhiji went to the Birla temple with his two nieces and he was assassinated there. So we wanted to be true to Rajesh and to history. So this is how we resolved our dilemma. This is the last page of the book. Now, here are some images from the book. There are questions from the child's perspective. Like here she's asking, did Bapu work hard in school too? So these are the kind of questions from the child's perspective answered by the historian and artist through his images, and then Gandhi himself answering some questions at various stages of his life. And here is our, so there are some pages from the book. You can see. These are all pages from the book. And here is our book launch. At Kitab Khana in Mumbai, you can see Rajesh's painting is in the background. So, you can see how, what kind of work goes into converting or adapting, that kind of painting into a book where our readers are familiar with a certain way of reading. And so we also wanted our readers to know where the images in the book came from. And then you can see Rajesh has made some paintings in the board and to share with the children. And there's Ankit entertaining these kids. Then we also enacted some of Gandhi's favorite stories to entertain the children and make them curious about him. Now we come to the international project I promised to share. This was a transdisciplinary project that brought together artists, social scientists, development experts, NGOs, and water stakeholders in the village of Dhakoda, which is in Rajasthan. Our central research question was to examine and understand the role of the arts to support water security in rural Rajasthan. The water table in some of these places is extremely low, and drawing water through tube wells is now prohibited because it had reached such levels that not only depleted water resources, but had also brought about diseases like fluorosis and other bone-related illnesses. The only hope in these regions is to save water or store rainwater. So we painted a school wall and a scroll with local artists of that region in a tiny village in the desert state of Rajasthan. The intention was to create an awareness of the importance of rainwater harvesting, which every household could do to ensure water security. In a sense, it was an empowering experience for people to do something about the problem rather than see it as an insurmountable problem beyond the scope of individuals. The inspiration came from the Shekhawati murals of Rajasthan, which are painted on mansions or havelis, as we call them. In fact, it's called the open air museum, open air art museum. Our village is also in this region. And now there's an entire video of the process, which I can show if we've got the time, or else you can watch it later on also, and we can take questions. What I can do is I can share the, what you may call the, I can stop here. I can share the link. You all can watch it if you want now, or you can watch it later, and we can actually take questions. What would you like to do?
Is the video too long? Means,
it's 7 minutes, but it's 7 minutes.
I think we let us see.
Oh,
let us see them.
Okay, definitely. Have a look. Have a look.
Thank you.
Sanjay, are we still on?
Yes.
Yes, we are on. Yeah, we are done.
Good. Okay.
We are done.
We can start the question.
Yeah, I request Mohsin to check the chat box. If
I don't see any questions in the chat box. I'm also watching.
Well, yeah, if
You're asking how
anyone
did
from
this
audience have any question, please put it in the chat box. I can ask Nina and she can answer.
How did the project in Rajasthan actually create an impact on water conservation? If you can please elaborate on this. See, I don't think we can have very, big claims that, are doing one thing is going to make impact in a very, sort of a big way. But I think what it did do, which, if you saw in the video, we were outsiders who went there, with this whole idea of how earlier people, these guys used to go with their technical drawings and, explain how rainwater harvesting is done, and nobody could understand it. But here we did it like a narrative, So what happened was everybody in the village was explaining to the other, what rainwater harvesting is all about. And like they said, that it might impact us in the small ways, like, people will not start the tube well just to fill a bucket of water or something. They'll be more conserving. And also for them, the way they looked at the art was really interesting. One, it was like a big status symbol for them, because they said these paintings are only made on mansions of rich people, and now we have it in our village. And it is a selfie point. People will stop here to take pictures. So apart from rainwater harvesting, it was also doing something for them, status wise, and that also made a difference, which was something we were not expecting. None of that we were expecting. We were more worried about how to explain this rainwater harvesting, because even people who can't read or write, they were able to sort of follow how rainwater is harvested. So I hope I answered your question. The films and the projects that you showed are really amazing. My question is, throughout the time you have worked on several projects, including social awareness, sometimes, how do you select a particular topic to work on? So some I choose, some I am asked to do, but I don't treat them as separate things. For me, I love the process, so the process is always working with people about whom it is, and who want to share their either stories or their memories. So it's something like this. This project came to me, the rainwater harvesting project came to me. There was another one which I did with a professor from the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. And he is working on the air pollution levels in Delhi. And he was also having problems, communicating this very technical kind of information with people, who are suffering from asthma in those places in Delhi, who are affected by the air pollution. So we worked with them. So there also we worked with the children, and how the pollution impacted especially asthmatic children, and made that kind of information accessible to people. So I think design makes things accessible, because and so does art. So, and memory is another thing. Memory is something which is hard to access. So it is only through conversations and showing photographs and things that you kind of elicit some memories, and then once you create something, that in turn generates more memories. So I think I like working that way. I did not make any videos on save water. No, I don't work that way. I'm not into propaganda. I'm more interested in how do people feel about, their own realities, and how they want to deal with it, or what do they feel about it.
There is another question, Nina, about the making of Hum Chitra Banate Hai. How did you make it? It is like whether any software is used, and what was the technique of making?
So both are used. One is, of course, the drawings made by the artists, and by Sher Singh mostly, and of course some other artists whose pictures I showed you. And then we scanned it into the computer, and then we worked. I mean, you saw that every dot was animated, because each dot is supposed to represent an ancestor. So that kind of directed why those dots should also breathe, so to speak. So of course my animators are very annoyed with me, because how on earth are we going to animate each dot? So I said we have to figure it out. So they wrote, I mean, I didn't write, they wrote a kind of algorithm by which we made a directory of these dots. So everything was done in After Effects.
Okay.
And then it was taken to Premiere for editing.
Okay.
So there is always this relationship between the hand and the machine, in my work.
Yeah. Any other question anyone have? Otherwise, I don't see any other question in the chat box so far.
What's your upcoming project?
What's the upcoming project?
Okay, the upcoming project is a film about my mother's experience of the partition. And because now I'm living with my mother, so I talk to her every day. And we we've come up with, she likes sewing, so again it's the mixture of cloth and stitching and that kind of, but also because it's memory, I'm working with watercolors which are very fluid. Memory is fluid, so I like using the material like cloth and watercolors, because they both kind of in a way represent memory, which is fluid, which is transient, which is also, some memories just don't disappear, so it's very resilient. So sort of echoes, the material echoes that sentiment. So I like to work with that. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. Any messages for budding designers? I don't know. I'm learning from you guys. I think do whatever you want, but do what you are passionate about. I think passion and interest and care and concern are very important things, which are good drivers. They're good motivators, because that's what makes you feel alive. You do what you like doing, and what you like doing also has relevance to some degree, for people. And working with people is always very exciting, telling their stories. So I believe you're either the story or you're the storyteller. I'm the storyteller. I tell stories about other people. What's that? Your Gandhi story is very profound. Such narratives aren't organic to the Varli. My question is, do you feel it is appropriate to introduce such narratives to Varli, which is originally centered around? See, I agree. But this painting about Gandhiji's life was done by the Varli artist himself. I was only merely trying to tell it in the form of a book for children. He had already made this painting. So you're right. I mean, but the thing is, what? Everybody changes. I mean, if you see Varli artists now, I am in touch with a lot of them. They have done amazing work on the COVID. Amazing. I mean, no artist, professionally trained artist from fine arts colleges has done such a great rendition on the COVID like these guys have done. Amazing work. And they are like paintings. They're not like, so I think every artist has the freedom and must have the freedom to express things in their way, whether they're Varli artists or they're, fine arts trained artists. I think it's fair, to to let people express themselves. So I mean, if Rajesh wanted to tell the story of Gandhi through his Varli painting, why not? So now what's more? Any tips for us to improving animation and films? I like stop motion. Yeah, I think its technique is one thing, but I think it's the story that is important. How you express your story. That is very, very important. I want to see more videos. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Let me see if I can. I'll paste it over here. I think it's right. Oh, gosh. One second. I think if you went here, I have pasted it. You might be able to see all the films. But I think just type my name and animation films. I think they should show up. They should show up.
All the films are accessible, Nina, I think on YouTube.
Yeah, I put everything on YouTube.
Nina Sabnani and animation film, it all comes one after another. I think
yeah, you can see. I've even put this art with intent. Everything I do, I put it there.
Yeah.
Because if others don't get to see my work, what's the point of doing it? No. We are very lucky. We can, we can show our films on YouTube.
So it's a small suggestion from my side to all the viewers that you just type Nina Sabnani in Google. Wikipedia will tell you everything about her almost, and YouTube will show almost all the videos, all the animation, all the videos that are there. So in that way,
And all my books are with Tulika Books, if you wanted to have.
Okay.
They also have images, yeah.
Well,
So,
yeah, Sanjay. You like to say?
I think we are done with the questions, and so now it's time to conclude the session. So once again, on behalf of Department of Fine Arts and Design, Sister Nivedita University, I extend my our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Professor Nina Sabnani for taking out time and sharing her insights, sharing her experiences with us in the domain of design, animation, and illustration, everything. It was amazing, amazing session we had. It was many professionals, young professionals have joined us today. Many budding designers, aspiring designers, they have joined from all across the country. Today I received call from Delhi, I received call from Mumbai. So that way it was really amazing. And the video was live on our Facebook page as well, Department of Fine Arts and Design, Sister Nivedita University. So thank you, Professor Sabnani, for this wonderful session. We look forward for longer association. Your advices, your expertise will definitely help us to grow as a young, as our Professor Dasgupta already pointed out, we are a young institution in the domain of fine arts and design, but we desire to excel, we desire to grow. So we look forward for future association. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nina. It's a wonderful session, really. And thank you all the participants who shared Nina's experience, shared. And it is, though it's a very short time to share your journey, which is a journey of lifetime. But I think the film, Hum Chitra Banate, is a wonderful film. And it could be really, really an inspiration for, your designers, artists, and animators, and other books as well. It's beautiful, and it's an amazing session. And thank you, Nina, for sharing your knowledge with us and all the budding designers and students.
And just one more thing I'd like to add, Mohsin, means this Hum Chitra Banate Hai is also a kind of path-breaking work, because the animation usually animation has a different kind of idea or a kind of idea. Our idea of animation or our view about animation is too much westernized, westernized, Hollywood based, and or maybe we are now focused on Japan and everything. But the kind of indigeneity, the indigenous flavor that is there in Hum Chitra Banate Hai, it has opened a new possibility in the domain of animation completely. I was amazed.
I want to make a film with the Katha artists. If you are game, we should do it together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We will.
Because I have interviewed those people, in that 24 Parganas. I went there, I met the artists from Sasha, they were making these beautiful Katha work. And there are some beautiful songs, I believe, that women sing, which are kind of stitched, so that is something I would love to collaborate with.
Yes, eventually both Mohsin and myself, we stay in 24 Parganas only. So at any point of time, if you need any local connection here, please feel free to be in touch. We'll be more than happy.
No, I'm talking about, working together with students and, actually creating a film.
Why not? Why not?
That's possible.
Anytime, please let us know. We'll be glad to do a project like that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good
Okay.
night.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
So thank you, viewers, for being with us. That's the end of the session. Thank you. Thank you, Mohsin, for the
Thanks, Sanjay.
moderation.
Yeah, most welcome.
Thank you.